A 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is Universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it. All right, let's hit it indeed with some concepts and rationalizations. We were watching in the break process, and I'll bring this up because I noted this the other day, that they show the highlights of the quarterbacks in college. And one of the reasons why it's so hard to determine if you're going to be a good pro is, I don't know how else to put it, but the college game is easier.
They're wide open.
Yeah, I mean, the guys are open. I mean, even when they're covered, they're a step behind. Whereas in the NFL, we always talk about smaller windows. This is not earth-shattering news, but it's funny because it struck me. I was watching the dang, what was the running back's name who went 5 for 5 on the fourth downs for LSU?
Oh, gosh.
He's a fullback guy. He's
not Edwards-Helaire. You're not talking about
no.
way back.
Yeah, LSU, Florida.
Yeah, I don't
Florida
remember.
was number one. We go out to Baton Rouge in 2007, so it was early in the year,
ago.
right? Ended up losing 3 or 4 games that year. That was Tebow's Heisman year. Am I getting this right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, that was his Heisman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, it's like
I was watching some of that game the other day.
I don't remember that. I don't remember the players. To be honest with you, I don't remember one particular player getting the 5 fourth downs.
Oh, yeah,
I thought it was
5 for 5.
I know they were, but I thought they did it in a variety of ways. I didn't remember it being one running back that was doing
Drove me
it.
nuts. Anyway, so in that game, even they had a fake field goal and they flipped it to them.
That was in Gainesville, though, wasn't it?
No, well, there was one of those.
It bounced up off the ground was in Gainesville.
Yeah, but no.
They just ran it good in 07.
Ryan Perrilloux was a quarterback.
Really? We lost to Ryan?
And Matt Flynn.
Perrilloux. I don't
Yeah.
remember that. That's not a great team.
We were such a better team. That's the first thing I remembered. Like Florida was – and Florida led.
Jacob Hester was the running back.
Jacob Hester, thank you. And Florida led the whole way. Like they went up 10-0, 10-7. They'd go up 17-7, 17-14. They went up 24-14. It was just a game where LSU kept it close, and then Florida made Keyston Moore fumbled. LSU took advantage. But anyway, the point I was going to make was there was one pass. Tebow hit Cornelius Ingram for a touchdown. I mean, there was nobody within 20 yards of him. He was just wide open. And so Florida ended up losing, I think, 28-24 on that particular night. But the point was there was a play in that game, and you watch college football, and when you watch the highlights from Tua and Burrow, the receivers dominate in turn. Well, first off, those two teams had great receivers.
Well, I was going to say they got 3 top 15 in so it's makes it even more
magnified. But these guys are wide open. That just doesn't happen in the NFL. So
not often.
Accuracy becomes a big deal.
Like the wheel route in college football, you can throw into a 15-yard window sometimes.
Right.
The wheel right in the NFL, you're beating the linebacker. He's right on his hip.
You drop it in there. I watched Tua likes to run that RPO where he fakes and slants. You know, he fakes the handoff and fires the slant. And they were showing a couple of those. And, even one of them was the receiver had to go back behind him and catch it. And I'm thinking, man, that's either incomplete or intercepted in the NFL. So, I mean, the challenge grows exponentially when you go to the National Football League. This is not breaking news. It's just interesting to see, though, as they continue to show the highlights of all the quarterbacks as they try to make their way into the National Football League.
I got flooded with a wave of intuition, Dan, when it comes to the Jags draft.
A wave of intuition.
Yeah, I just got very intuitive. This is not coming from any birdies squawking or any national narrative. But why am I now thinking you're not going to like this intuition, by the way. You're not huge on this guy.
Right.
But why would I not be surprised at all? And by the time we get there, maybe expect. Why am I thinking C.J. Henderson at 9 to the Jags? I'll tell you why I say that. Look. When they traded Jalen Ramsey and then released A.J. Boye, when they released A.J. Boye, it just, to me, it should send off a flare that they have a specific plan on draft day. That plan now becomes even more important that the Denard signing fell through. With all due respect to Rashawn Melvin,
right?
The Jags have maybe a bigger need at corner than any position on the team. And we've talked about a corner coming here, and we've talked about getting Fulton at 20 or Winfield in the second round, and maybe those are possibilities. But I do know that Dave Caldwell tends to fall in love with a prospect that he thinks he can grab a little bit ahead of where other people are going to take him. We've seen him do it, not always with the first rounder. We've seen him do that. He certainly did it with Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
well, they have to take here's what.
And so but the problem is, if you don't, what do you? If you don't take Henderson at 9, then you may be, running the risk of just playing a guy.
They got to have another plan because, well, like I said, I think they love Okudah and would like to get Okudah and move up to get Okudah. I don't know that they can move up to get Okudah or will get Okudah. If they don't get Okudah, the next guy everybody says is Henderson. And then there's a sort of a drop-off. And then you're talking about the Diggs and the Utah kid and the
Jalen
Fulton
Johnson
and those
Terrell.
Those guys are the next wave. If you take one of those at 20, you probably don't have that guy at 20 on your board either. You probably have that guy at
34.
Yeah, now if you're being honest, he's probably not – he's probably not 20. Now, I'm not big on C.J. Henderson. I did read played hurt a lot last year and toughed it out.
I like C.J. Henderson, we have different
I wouldn't
indications.
He's not an impact – I mean, to me, I don't know. He's not an impact player at 9. Big enough for me.
Why? It's funny how. Why doesn't it matter? Why doesn't it matter that Henderson in his career has twice as many interceptions as Okudah and more passes defended? Why isn't that? Like, why is it that that's strange to me? Why is Okudah the better?
Yeah.
Not the interceptions are the be all end all, but
right.
I thought you're right about last year. There's there's kind of a emblazoned. He got burned a couple times in the LSU game where he had good coverage and guys just went up and made plays on him. I always liked Henderson. I think he's very good. I don't know if he's worth the 9 pick, but if he's the 12th or 13th pick, that's the one thing. He's going between 9 and 20, so it's not a reach if they do. I guess that's what kind of made me think. But we think of
no, it's not a reach.
That wouldn't be a reach. And by the way, C.J. Henderson going in the top 10 by anyone wouldn't be an incredible reach. We don't know what the teams are thinking exactly. No. We're just going on some of what they're saying publicly and what some of the workouts are doing. I don't think that I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I know you wouldn't.
And
I'm not saying I would either, but
this is dumb.
I think it might happen.
This is dumb, but again, we got Fred Taylor with the 9 pick. He was great. You want to take a look at the rest of the Gators they've drafted in the first round and through their history? Not so much. So I don't know. You can't shy away because they're all different people. So I get that, but. I don't know. He had 4 picks his first year, 2 against Michigan, if I remember. I think he had 2 pick sixes against Michigan right off the rip, didn't he?
He's big. He's physical. I mean, he's 6'1". He can run. He's fat. One of the faster guys to combine. I mean, he's got all that going for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, God, no. If I had Derek Brown and C.J. Henderson, I would take Derek Brown.
Yeah.
For sure.
I guess the concern for me is who's playing corner.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't draft a good top prospect, what are you doing?
Yeah,
that could get really ugly. By the way,
I hear you.
And I'm so tired. Let me tell you, like the code for NFL in the NFL, and it's not just here in Jacksonville. This isn't I'll just use an example because that's what's here.
Right.
And anytime these guys are on the NFL, tell you how excited about there's some young guy who's never played, then they're foolish. Right, we like Perry Nickerson. Oh, do you really? What exactly led you to believe that? And it may work out. I'm not saying, but for these guys to suggest, just like us, that a guy who's never played is going to be, we're really excited about what he did on the scout team. Yeah, okay, sure you are.
Mm-hmm.
How about we get a guy who's accomplished?
I have the data entered here on the Steps Challenge. If you're interested,
well, sure.
I'll break it down
it'll be
for you.
Just, one long.
Yeah.
Disconcerting segment.
This is an incredible. We're halfway through, right? I mean, we're halfway through.
This is where it really gets real, Dan.
Yeah. Hicken 373,452.
I'm sorry. Restate your total again.
373,452. That's an average of 24,897 a day.
Okay. Yeah, you were disappointing yesterday, below average.
CT. 367,729. Actually,
20,000 up?
Actually, I have a 6,000 step lead, but
I thought you said 347 to 367. No, I didn't hear it. What'd you say? 372? Is that what it was?
for the listener,
Yeah.
373.
Those are a lot of big numbers.
452. Thomas 367, 729. 24, 897 a day. 24, 515 a day. It is nip and tuck.
Wow. A whole
Halfway through.
300 steps a day is all you're doing. That's basically walking from the beach back up to the house. That is.
That sorry dog got 22.9 yesterday in the rain, and I got 22.2, so he chopped into the lead.
To all you young bucks out there that thrive on your ability to compete, this is the ultimate in old man competition.
Oh, yeah.
My man's having a walk-off with his college buddy. So
Takes
yeah, it's not exactly doing what's the thing that Ox used to do, jumping up on boxes and stuff?
takes mental
CrossFit, not exactly CrossFit.
It's not CrossFit.
This takes mental toughness, ladies and gentlemen, to do this day after day.
It is
halfway
boring, so
through.
that's a good point.
Yeah. He has 3 days over 30. His 3 top days are 30,000, 31, and 32. So I've hit 27, 28, 29, and 31. Oof. It is close.
This is not a new question. We've asked this, but gosh, the way things fluctuate nowadays, and with news coming out just about every day on some form or fashion, I can't help but flash back every 2 or 3 days and wonder what the Jags are going to do about those London games, and when does a decision come on them?
Well, I don't know if they'll make a decision, and I don't know how they're going to plan, but the schedule's due out May 8th, May 9th.
They have to do it by then, right? And
I don't know. I don't know if they now. Are they going to go Schedule A, Schedule B? Do they have to come out with, I don't know. That's a good question. Are the Jags in London? Do you put them in? We know when they're supposed to go. We know they're playing 2 there, but it's still not till the end of October.
Well, and there's still some thought that when a May 9th schedule is released, there's the possibility of games being lost by a delayed start. Starting the season October 1st or whatever. I don't. That would have to be a move, though, if you're only planning on putting fans in, because there's not going to be a big advantage starting in October versus September if you're playing an empty stadium.
Again, there's still so much to be determined this summer. How, but planning does need to go on, and so, what do you do? I mean, you start AUG 1 with camp. Guy gets sick. Somebody's going to get it.
Well,
somebody's going to get it.
At some point, we
right?
can't. At some point, we're going to reach a point, whether it's through vaccinations or otherwise,
right.
that you can't stop society every time someone gets sick.
Right.
You can't. It's impossible. You have to at some times, and again, this is not meant to be cold or to happen to anyone out there. At some point, part of life is death, and that doesn't mean you do anything you can to stop. But the question becomes going above and beyond to the detriment of other important things, right? And I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about, so for everyone who's out there saying, yeah, we need to stay home and teachers aren't going to go back to, well, that's great if you got the income to afford that, but understand that 90% of America needs a paycheck and they need their job to be open, and they are willing to, rightfully so, risk getting sick in order to have a livelihood. Oof. I mean, that's where we're coming, and so when you have an argument between people who don't need that current income for a livelihood and those who absolutely have to have it, there's a big gulf in thought.
Right.
Right? The ones that want to be safest, it feels to me, which is, again, their prerogative, and the most judgmental about anyone who does anything that's outside of it are the ones that can afford to be that safe. Not everyone can. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm sure there are people, Hick, and you know this, that have jobs, they go to work every day where they feel like they're in more danger from their job than from catching a virus.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to, and just say this from a community, like a societal standpoint, because ultimately that's going to filter down to sports and when they come back and how they come back.
Yeah, it's going to take people far more intelligent than us to figure this thing out. But it's at some point, yeah, you got to think. I know, like the PGA Tour, we still think is planning on coming back in mid-June. So
I bet you by the middle of May, these leagues have reconvened.
Well, I think the president said today he was going to talk a little bit about plans for reopening the country in some respects. So you just got to be careful and try to do it right. What we don't want to have happen is another outbreak and then another quarantine and then another stay-at-home order and then all that. So I saw that the WWE furloughed a bunch of people. I thought that was not a good look after he doled out, gave state of Florida millions of dollars to
Stay essential.
stay essential. So
I don't listen. To me, this is like just as like it wouldn't be if I was going to go see a Broadway play. I wouldn't want to see it with no one in the crowd,
right.
with no audience. And this wrestling with no audience is just beyond goofy. It's just not the same, man. I mean,
Yeah.
half of a wrestling show is the wrestler playing to the crowd. You know
Yeah.
how stupid it looks when he holds his hands up and screams into into space? It's dumb. And I'm sure a wrestling fan has by now identified that wrestling with no fans is really, really stupid. It is just a stupid television program. I mean, it is. I mean, half of wrestling is, big hairy guy yelling at big bald guy and flipping off the fans and rousing them up in the meantime. So when you take that same tact, yet it's just like blank, a black hole of darkness.
Right.
It doesn't register.
One other thing, look, it's been a tough time here, and I'll do this when we come back. I have an announcement to make. I need to make an announcement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Got to tell you guys something. Also, we got a Publix gift card to give away today, right? Courtesy of the boys at Roof It Right. So they're trying to help you guys out right now through these tough times and do something for the community. So $100 gift certificate to Publix on the line a little bit later in the program. So we'll do that as well.
All right, it's Custom Tree Surgeons Thursday.
Got Doc Murphy, right?
Yeah, Doc Murphy's coming up. Custom Tree Surgeons is essential up and running. We've had some bad weather around here, so take a good look at the property. They will tighten you up. They'll do it with just a great value and unbelievable customer service. It's Custom Tree Surgeons and CustomTreeSurgeons.com.